Hello, and thank you so much for coming tonight to the first band concert of the 25-26 school year. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Chris Withero. I am the band director here at Marshall Middle School. Now, before we get started, we do have some very long-standing housekeeping items to address. First and foremost, I double-checked, because I haven't heard it for a while, but my ringtone is still Africa by Toto. That being said, you're here to listen to their music, not yours. So if you could please silence your cell phones, that would be super. Second thing, if you have a small child that needs attention outside or whatever, we do keep the windows open so that you are still able to enjoy the concert and take care of the loads. And last but not least, the transition between 5th and 7th grade is historically short, so we do ask that you stay through the entire portion of the concert. On stage is 5th grade, so in the middle school, 5th grade is the first year we have band. And so these students on stage have gone from, no, you have to flip the case over to open it, to being able to play music for you on stage. So our first piece for you this evening is a theme and variations on Lightly Run. Our second piece for you this evening is titled Power Rock. For those rock fans like me, this is not Def Leppard or anything of that nature, but it does rock pretty good. So, please enjoy Power Rock.
Oh,
piece for you this evening is titled Ode to Joy, which is a famous classical piece you will definitely recognize. This one is kind of one of the first pieces that this group has where there's differences in between the woodwinds and the brass kind of happening at the same time. So instead of we're all playing the same part, it's like, oh, I have to kind of listen to my section and I have to kind of maybe ignore what a different section is playing, so I have to be independent in what I'm doing. This is Ode to Joy. Before we play our final piece this evening, just a reminder that the transition between 5th and 7th grade is very quick, so just kind of hang out and we'll continue on with the concert. And what would it be for a first 5th grade band concert in Marshall Middle School if we do not play the now famous theme and variation on the Hot Cross Buns? All right, thank you for your patience. Like I said, record speed. On stage are now the 7th graders, maybe taller, sometimes more mature. We'll see. Our first piece for you tonight is called Storm Chaser. It starts with a really cool kind of rain effect, and then it kind of builds and builds and builds. So this is Storm Chaser. Within the concert band world, there are pieces that are sort of standard. So certain publisher websites and things like that, you look at like these editors lists or these contest lists or anything like that, and like every band library in the country has these pieces. This next one is, if it's not on there, it definitely should be. This is I consider a standard middle school piece that if you were in middle school, either you should play it or you should hear it. I just think it's that good. That's just my taste, but to each their own. Please enjoy Comet Ride. of course, some thank yous to give out. Thank you to my coworkers, Wes Myers and Eric Novosad. It's really nice working with two people that I consider friends, just beyond colleagues. It makes the work, it's not work. You know, you come hang out with your friends all day. Of course, I have to thank my two incredible administrators, Bennett Apple and Peggy Reynolds. They make working here very easy. It's nice to go into an office when, if you need something, they're there. So, thank you. And last but certainly not least, you. This is year 12. 12? 12. We'll go with 12. And I have a board in my office of certain, little things kids have given me or whatever, and I look up and I'm like, wow, that fifth grader in that newspaper clipping just got married and has a 1-year-old. And so it's kind of crazy that I've been here as long as I have, and I have hopefully some more to go. So, and it wouldn't be a middle school concert without reminding you that certain establishments such as Cold Stone, Dairy Queen, McDonald's all serve ice cream, and they're still open after the concert's over. Do with that information what you will. Our final piece for this evening is titled Guantanamo. Thank you so much for coming out tonight to the first 6th and 8th grade band concert of the year. For those of you that don't know me, my name is Chris Witherow, and I'm the band director here at Marshall Middle School. Now, before we get started with the music, we do have some very traditional housekeeping items to attend to. First and foremost, double check, just to make, I haven't heard it for a while. My ringtone is still Africa by Toto, but we're here to hear their music, not yours, so if you can please silence your cell phones, that would be appreciated. Secondly, we do keep the wing doors open if you have a small child that needs attention. That way you can do what you gotta do while still enjoying the performance. Lastly, the transition between the two groups is speedy quick, so we do ask that you stay for the full duration of the concert. Now I do have to confess, I made a mistake. I know, it's okay. The order of the pieces for sixth grade is flipped, so we actually are starting with William Tell Overture. We will end with so, without further ado, we'll get started with William Tell Overture. So in the concert band world, there are pieces that are sort of standard. So if you go onto different publisher websites, there's like, here is the list of pieces that you should have in your library, and as a student, you should either hear or play at some point in your time in band. So this next piece I would consider on that list, if it is not already, and I'm sure it is. Robert W. Smith is a very famous within us band nerds folks as one of the best band arrangers and composers out there. And this next piece, save maybe the clarinets, very much enjoy it. They just play a lot of the same note. Lot. So, if you have a clarinet parent, you should ask them how many times they play the note A. If I were, this would be a good time for a 6 or 7 joke, but I'm not going to. So, you're welcome. You're welcome. Anyway, please enjoy The Tempest. But before we play our final piece for you from the sixth graders, again, reminder that the transition to eighth grade is super fast, so if you could just hang out and we'll continue with the concert. This final piece, which I remember now, is Mechanical Monsters. I bought this one a year or two ago, just on a whim, and I think they really like this one. This one's different, but it's fun. So please enjoy Mechanical Monsters. All right, like I said, light and fast. Our first piece for you this evening from 8th grade is entitled America, Land of Liberty. Historically, our concert has fallen fairly close to Veterans Day, so this piece is to kind of celebrate that. So please enjoy America. Before we play our final piece for this evening, I have some thank yous and some housekeeping items. First and foremost, thank you to my two direct coworkers, Wes Myers and Eric Novosad. It's really something else when I can come to work and work with my friends. It makes the job that much more special. Thank you to my two administrators, Peggy Reynolds and Bennett Apple. It's incredible what we can do when you go to them, and if you need something, they're there for us. It's really something. And last but certainly not least, thank you to you. I could not do what I do without your continued support. I know some of those beginning sounds were, I know. And I hope you appreciate the growth that they have. The last housekeeping item is at the end of this piece. Everything on stage needs to get put back in the band room. They all know what to do. Hopefully they remember. After that, I've been asked to remind you that Dairy Queen, Cold Stone, those establishments exist and are still open. I'll just leave it at that. So, our final piece for this evening is entitled Arabian Dancers.